Hello, I'm Michael Goff, and I would like to thank Alyssa for this chance to share some of my novel, Seeing in the Dark, with you. I was a writer for the Dallas Observer when I was 17, and this novel are the adventures that I had while coming up as a musician in New York. That journey. Kat and I were excited to eat chicken. I had purchased 2 packages of six thighs at the neighborhood grocery. The grocery store was on the corner of Avenue A and 2nd Street. I had shopped alone. The store was full of old women, men, ladies, babies. The Puerto Rican woman at the counter raked the items across the scanner. I was watching over in their machines that give you $1 coupon for Coke when you buy Pepsi, said the Irish girl with dim eyes and crow's feet. I did not buy Coke or could imagine the store being modern enough to have a machine like the one described. I enjoyed grocery shopping. The experience varied depending on the people that I shopped with. One girl, Merritt, and I gallivanted about the grocery store in Pittsburgh. This is a star fruit, Merritt said, holding the honey-colored fruit like a football toward me. I stared at the fruit and was amused to see that the outline of the bottom was the shape of a star. Wow, it does look like a star. I never knew that. How does it taste? She then stood in front of a box of sun-made raisins that appeared to be a halo floating above her head. Bottles of juice looked like a rainbow. The girl at the checkout counter grabbed a carton of eggs and said, "Coupon." She then searched for a coupon and typed it into the register. Her chubby smile amused me. She was a darker color than her natural color because I was wearing sunglasses. Sunglasses made the scenery of New York more unreal. New York was coated in a beauty quite tame. The room where I stayed on St. Mark's Place looked onto the street. 2 chairs faced the window. One chair was covered in a landscape of cows in black and white cloth. Kat sat in the chair and smoked a cigarette. She held the receiver of a phone in the left hand and the cigarette in the right. I ate a plain bagel. That night she would be DJing at an after-hours club. The after-hours opened at 3 o'clock a.m. and closed at 4 p.m. Kat was a skinny girl, 27 years of age. I met her through a friend of mine. Cars would pass in front of the window on St. Mark's. Little children and old people crossed the street. Sometimes the trucks carrying trailers will cover the space of the window with the name Solomon's Trucking, Frozen Foods, Rolling Rock. The advertisements were invading. There was a tuft of hair on Kat's head right in the center. I want to go bald for this photo shoot. If I get this job with this video company, then I can go bald again. I've been looking for work uptown, but I feel like an alien up there. This job with the studio will give me a chance to learn how to use cameras. I used to be a dancer. Being a camera operator would let me leave this place. I love New York and all, but I don't want to live here forever. Me either. I said, this is just a stopping point for me between America and Paris. I wouldn't want to move to Europe. That would be too unsuitable for me. I like to feel grounded. Kat hung up the phone and we walked to her apartment on Avenue D and 5th Street. Once there, I sat on the couch and read a magazine about DJs and dub music. It was hard for me to believe that someone would actually devote her life to such a thing. I taped the Coltrane broadcast miles from the radio. I'd like to hear that. I heard a little bit, but it was not enough to digest. Kat turned on the radio and played the tape. I've never heard these songs before, and I thought I was a pretty avid listener of Train and Miles. At that moment, I began thinking that I'd entered a more real world, a world where the same subjects were presented again in another form. Jimi Hendrix was actually shot. There was a bullet in his heart. What? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Yeah, there was a bullet found in his heart. This scared me. Had everything that I'd ever been told been false? I no longer knew what to think. I just decided to act at all times. I brought chicken from my apartment and we cooked it. After she chose records to play and after I took a nap, her boyfriend arrived and we ate at the glass table that was chest level when seated on the floor. The chicken was good, having been prepared with soy sauce, rosemary, garlic, salt, pepper, olive oil. Her boyfriend was a DJ. Hey, let me show you something. He played a record of jazzy breaks. Yeah, that's a nice and mellow. I've never heard breaks like that before. Check this out. He played a record by Goldie. The singer on the album sang about love The buildings outside the window looked like kindling flash bulbs. The buzzer rang. 2 girls entered with a dog. The dog is named Hope, a slim, white and brown dog with a pig's hoof in its mouth. One of the girls was Irish, the other American, with a dancer's body and dyed red hair. The dog ran around the room, frantically gnawing the hoof. Kat's boyfriend moved the plates from the table to the sink so that the dog couldn't get to them. Everyone in the room smoked a cigarette except for me. I watched the smoke converge in the middle of the room. People are moods now. Their faces are oddly the same. These infinite days limited by appointments and aspirations. It is still hard to say what controls this. It just happens. What is it? The books become more complicated, but say the same things in different languages. Adages about the Renar, the elephant, the spirits are more alive than before. A new home for the mind. Farther from the world than before. In the day, everything is clear. The muddled night distends more illusion. A competent daydream follows into the night where the desired woman awakes. I want to hold her an excuse to care about another and take the mind off oneself. An opportunity to find out what one truly seeks through the eyes of another. Moans cover the surface of the downtrodden. This is no special gift. This is the ability to see. It opens doors that lead to more truths. When time elapses, the newfound eclipse grows wider. Logic is silly. Being on top of the world, walking on holes covered with needles, needless to say, the will is more stringent, temptation is more accessible and sweet, the danger / twofold, escape imminent, a dialogue between beings, words are gone, observation of insects in the absence of oxygen. Insanity one step away, I can smell it on her breath. She can escape, but not really. She remembers all of the details that everyone forgets, resorting to drugs and Nina Simone. Maybe she will join her friends in Crazy World. Is this street? Her stare confirms the statement. You move in here and boom, Crazy World. When did I start playing so crazy? After the city, after life, after suicide of the old me? The suicide occurred in Pittsburgh right before the move back to New York. I read the email that you sent me. It was so sad. We thought you were going to commit suicide. The paraphernalia had been following me around for some time. My friend had books on the subject, paper magazines, and with Hitler and Jim Jones. These people were famous for leaving this world by choice. There's definitely another place after this one. An arduous trail led me to Jessica's bedroom. So you sent Lynn email too? So unlike you, so sweet and true. Maybe that's just where I'm going to, the land of sweetness. Do you want to go to Hemingway's? Hemingway's was a bar that the drama students would frequent. Okay, but first I must tell you about Opposite World. Maybe you're supposed to commit suicide. Suicide? No. I don't want to go through with it. I shuddered near her. You must. All trails lead there. Alright, I guess that I must. Hemingway is one of my favorite writers. I liked his stuff, but I don't know if we should eat there. Jess and I had a relationship that allowed us to talk about everything. We would sit for hours arguing about my life. I did not go to church again today. That point of returning to a congregation which holds so many conceptions of God. I will return someday. For the moment, I am surrounded by truth and feel quite loved by a new set of friends. We have disagreements, but that is fine. Arguments led to reason. An ardent calm is set inside me, having reconciled some differences. The day of my mother's birth date is fast approaching. I have had a friend develop some pictures for her. Lately, Maria Callas has entered my life, a woman whom I respect and adore. In an immortal space, she has proven to be a good source of love, her glorious voice singing me awake and elevating my ears to a plane where my mind has deeply drifted. I have wandered around the city. The days are more arduous than before. Each day entails reading, walking, thinking, practicing saxophone, listening. There's no stopping now. This is life. I am afraid to look under the stairs that lead upward. People pass the window and I feel farther away from them than I ever have. This world is being exchanged with another. Words, aqueducts of feelings. I have not spoken to my father. There are times when I'm lonely, but have not been left alone. God is watching over me. The situations that I have encountered have become more dense. Biographies of artists reveal the same painful trials. Homeless. I am grateful and thankful for food and shelter. This journey pounds away at my body and head. Trees remind me of changing season, winter, a deathly humor, an example of revival. You look like a preacher, said Steve the poet. I thought about the time that I'd led the congregation in the singing of hymns at the Church of Christ in Dallas. My father attended that service swelling with pride and remorse. He had been a missionary in an inn that had faithfully appeared after many years of poverty. I can remember eating a roach when I saw it crawling on the wall. My father spoke these words with a heavy Panamanian accent. He was not a citizen of the United States, but had bought into the American dream. There was no doubt in my mind that he wanted me to be a lawyer. When I made the decision to study music in school, he refused to pay for my education. Frustration leads me to think about entering law school, look for an easier means of salvation. There is no such thing. The wound is gaping and must be widened. A gasp at illusion. Illusion is what has gotten me so far. Illusion can become reality. The reality of this current situation is that life does have unexpected twists. Life has feeling. When the feeling is gone, it is time to move on. 13 1/2 cubic centimeters of air weighs 1 pound. Air, not a man, has weight. Thoughts have weight. I have given into tradition, but also shunned its suggestions. This philosophical excursion has led to little. The truth is that there are destinations, upward motion. God is everywhere and inside man. It's not hard to find or accept. Is there and unable to be validated. There is no need to validate a spirit. And the second story, Antonina. I am here for you. I am what you perceive. You inherit this. This is yours as long as you stay. I have found myself trapped above the flesh, being touched, looking down on it from another place.